Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Sanathavihari Bhikkhu, and I'm joined today also by Alan Pito.
Good morning, everybody.
So we're going to continue with our short reflection on the Five Remembrances. I'm going to sound the bell, and I invite you to just kind of let yourself be absorbed by the sound of the bell, kind of just follow it, drift with the sound. And then shortly after, you will hear me recite the Five Remembrances, followed by another hit of the bell. And then we'll begin today's topic for the 14-day planner. All right, looks like there was some technical issues. I think we're fine now, right?
We are. Sorry about it, everybody. I had a little computer issue there. Welcome, everyone. I'm Alan Pito.
Yeah, they were saying we hear him, but we don't see him.
Don't see, I was out for a minute.
Okay, everyone. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with a short reflection. I am subject to aging. There is no way to avoid aging. I am subject to ill health. There is no way to avoid illness. I am going to die. There is no way to avoid death. Everyone and everything that I love will change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My only true possessions are my actions. I cannot escape their consequences. All right, Alan, take it away.
Thank you. Well, good morning to everybody who's joining us live and also later on YouTube. We're on day 4, where we're going to be talking about right speech. So as you're aware, we're going through the first part of the 14 days with the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path. And right speech is part of the conduct category or grouping of the Eightfold Path. So our first scripture is going to say, use no harsh words, it is painful. More harsh words will follow with retaliatory action. And that is from the Dhammapada. So what we're talking about with right speech, speech is verbal karma. So it's actions, so we want to ensure just not, right action, but also right speech. So there's a few ways we can do that. We can make sure that, we're being mindful of what we say to other people. And kind of like the practice I like, just pause before you speak sometimes. Like think about what you're going to say and think about it in the mindset of like the Buddha or one of his enlightened followers. Like how would they, what would they say? What would they do, right? So being able to kind of like, back up for a second, a lot of people would not even notice if you pause for a second before you speak. So you can use that time to think about what would the Buddha say? What would one of his followers say, the monastics? What would a bodhisattva say? So you want to kind of think about that, because when you're speaking, that's verbal karma. And when that's out, it's out. And sometimes, speech can be, like a million little knives, or it could be like a big knife, so like what you actually say could have repercussions, for yourself, for other people, etc. So there are four types of speech that encompass right speech. We got words of truth, we have words of compassion, words of praise, and words of altruism. And if you kind of think about it, what we're trying to do here is make sure, you don't want to lie to people. You don't want to say one thing but do another thing. You want to be compassionate with your speech. So you're not trying to be, unwholesome with your speech. And that's a very big part of this. So, far as our daily practice, we're doing the five remembrances, we are doing our meditation. But far as your new practice to kind of start today, pause, if that helps you before you speak, especially if it's with somebody you know or don't know. Pause. Think about these four kinds of right speech before you actually do it. And then it will take practice. Sometimes you may forget about number four as far as the, right speech, right? But, think about that. And also think about it when you say it to, loved ones, friends, family. Sometimes it's easy to like, okay, let me pause before I speak to somebody like my boss, or to, somebody random on the street. But sometimes, we have wrong speech with people we're close with because we're too comfortable and we don't think about what we're actually saying. And that's very common as well too. So think about that, especially during, this pandemic. We are frustrated and stressed, a multitude of different emotions and feelings and everything else, where we just may not realize what we're actually saying, our speech. And so that would be our topic and our practice for today.
Thank you for sharing that, Alan. The Buddha also talked about refraining from harsh speech as one of the precepts. This includes not lying, uh, not saying bad words, not saying something harshly, um, not gossiping, also not dividing others. So trying to split two or more people, having them go against each other. So we also have to, within the right speech, we have to know that what we're saying is true. Is it gonna be helpful? Right? And if it's the appropriate time. Because sometimes something might be true and helpful, but it might not be the appropriate time. For example, some of us that are Buddhist, we always reflect on impermanence. But if someone in our family or a friend has just lost a loved one, you're not gonna just hit them right away with, "Oh, everything's impermanent. There's no self." It's stuff. That's not the right time. They're grieving at that moment. It might not be the right time for the real deep teachings of the Dhamma, although it's true and it'll help them in the long run. So we have to be very careful. Sometimes we have good intentions, but that person's not ready and it's not the right time. So we also have to consider that when we're practicing right speech. Also, right speech has to do with not speaking. It's very important to know when not to speak and try to avoid speaking. The Buddha said also, noble silence. Doesn't mean you're quiet all the time. It just means that if you have nothing useful to say, don't say anything at all. Useful here means things that lead towards the end of suffering or awakening, things that are going to help the person. So if we look at the discourses, the sutras, we'll see that many times people came to the Buddha, asked them questions, or they tried to quarrel with him, or they insulted him or assaulted him, and the Buddha remained silent. So we're not forced to give an answer. Don't ever feel pressured to say something. You can just stay quiet and walk away, or say, this is not the time, I don't want to speak about it. So right speech also means knowing when not to speak. It's also very important. And we have to realize that not speaking is also very powerful. It's a powerful message too, right? So I just kind of wanted to share these other aspects of what right speech means and some examples of how the Buddha practiced right speech by just remaining silent. So we're going to continue with our practice of mindful meditation, breathing meditation. So I've shared a couple of uh, options with you already. The first day I just kind of left it to you just to be aware that you're breathing. Then we counted the breath. Yesterday we noted the breath. And today I want to make it a little bit more somatic. So as always, you're invited to do your own meditation practice if you like, and this time's available for you. But if you want to try something new, I invite you to uh, place one hand over the other over your stomach. So you'll have one hand on top of the other, but over your stomach, and just kind of hug your tummy, and watch the breath right there. Right, you can watch your stomach inflate when you breathe in, and then deflate when you breathe out. And if you like, you can add some noting to it too. You can say rising and falling, or you can just simply observe how every time that you breathe, uh, your stomach just your tummy moves up and down. And just make that movement of the body, rising and falling, your object of meditation for today. And we'll be practicing just for a few minutes, okay? So I'm gonna sound the bell, and we can go ahead and practice this awareness of breathing meditation. Now that your mind is calm, body is relaxed, you can bless yourself with your calm mind. You can bless yourself with this good action. And as you go out throughout your day, just remember that our only refuge, the only thing we truly own, is our actions. And every time we act skillfully, we act in a wholesome way, we are ensuring our own well being and the well being of others. By protecting oneself, one protects others, and by protecting others, one protects oneself. Now you can gently come out of your meditation. Alan, is there anything else?
The only thing I'd like to kind of add as well, I really like the teaching that you gave at the end. If you're ever unsure of like how to practice right speech, in a particular situation, fall back on being mindful to the other person and being compassionate. So is your speech going to be compassionate if you want to just fall back on something? If we look at the Buddha, every time he actually encountered somebody, he did not have like scripted speech. He actually adapted to the needs of the person for his teachings. And in Mahayana, we have many bodhisattvas, and they adapt themselves to the different needs of people as well too, including speech. So if you need to fall back on something, just be mindful of that other person and be mindful of like what we're talking about in all these sessions. But just factor in that compassion. You don't want to like, if somebody's not feeling well, you don't want to tell them about medical things. You want to be compassionate, you want to be supportive, etc. So just fall back on those two things and you should be okay.
All right. So, also, I'd like to remind everyone that the 14-day Buddhist planner is available to be downloaded as PDF. So, if you don't have that, make sure that you download it so you can follow along and kind of dig deeper. Also, if you like to, if you want to go deeper, you have the planner there, and it also has a lot of information, especially near the end. And it has other resources also on Ellen Pito's website. And although most of you, I think, here might have it, also I'd like to remind the people who are following us on YouTube, they just might be stumbling along this video. So you can also go back to the intro video and follow all the days that we've already covered. And all of you, if you ever miss a day or you can't make it, don't feel bad. Just go ahead and follow us along on YouTube, and then just come back whenever you can. Come back to these practices with us. So that's it for today. And may you be well, happy, comfortable, and peaceful. Bye bye, everyone.